Hello and welcome back. My name's TJ. I manage over $100 million a year in Google ad spend, and today I'm going to show you how to run Google ads for your law firm. In this video, you're going to learn how to set up your campaigns from beginning to end. I'll show you the keywords to target, the ads to use, and the best campaign structure. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to see the cost for each individual keyword that you're looking to bid on. All right, let's jump in. Now we're in the Google ad account. Navigate to the campaign level, hit this plus button, and we'll create a new campaign. So you get these options: sales, leads, website traffic, app promotion, awareness, and consideration. Don't worry about any of this. We are going to optimize for leads. Now, if you watched my other video on how to set up conversion goals, you'll see several conversion goals show up here. If you have not set this up, you want to go watch that video to make sure you have conversions being tracked into your Google ad account. Right now, the biggest thing for you to know is you only want to have one conversion goal active. For example, if I was an e-commerce store, I'd only want to focus on getting purchases. That doesn't mean add to carts wouldn't be tracked. That doesn't mean begin checkouts wouldn't be tracked, but we want to make sure our campaign is only optimized for the thing that we want it to generate for us. So in our case, we want to generate lead form submissions. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the other ones. All right, now they are all removed. I just have lead forms. I'm going to hit continue. Go ahead and click search. We don't want to use any of the other campaign types. And then you'll click website visits. Now, what you need to do is grab your website URL. In this case, I'm just going to grab the homepage of this law firm and I'm going to drop it in. We'll hit continue. Then go ahead and just name your campaign. I'm going to call it law firm. Click start new. Right. For your bidding strategy, you want to select maximize conversions. This will tell Google to get as many conversions as fast as possible. Eventually, once you've run this for 30 to 60 days and you've had enough conversions come in where you know what your target cost to acquire a new lead is, you can turn this on and then set this at what you're willing to spend to generate each new lead. For example, let's say you run this campaign for 60 days and you know that you can get a lead for 40, 50, 60 bucks. Whatever the number is and you're willing to spend, you can go ahead and set that number here. But in our particular case, because this is a brand new campaign, we're going to leave it on just maximize conversion. Also, this customer acquisition button for optimize campaign for acquiring new customers, you don't need to use. It doesn't really work that effectively. It's a newer feature that Google's testing. Okay, now we have the option to select the networks. We always want to turn off Google Search Partners and Google Display Network. Essentially, I'm not going to go into it this much for this video, but basically what this is you can click this link here and it'll show you more information on it. But what this is Google has partnerships with other websites and third-party networks where it's allowed to display your ad, and it's typically to really irrelevant traffic, people who are not necessarily interested in what you're targeting, what you have to offer. I have seen this completely destroy ad accounts. Oftentimes there's clients that we'll take on and we'll just turn this off and this can turn their account around completely. So if you're running a campaign right now and you want to maybe, if you can make that current campaign work without having to do a whole new build, make sure this is off. And then the second thing is locations. So down here you see locations. A lot of local based businesses, again, a lot of local law firms will forget to set this up correctly. And if you're currently running a campaign and you're seeing, hey, we're getting a bunch of leads, but it's showing from all over, this is where you can fix this. So you'll click United States, and then this drop down will look like this. And you can click location options and then click presence. So when you select presence, this will make sure that you're targeting people who are not traveling through your particular location, but are, living or, most often in the location you want to target. Especially for a law firm, you oftentimes want to just make sure hit people that are in the place that they live. Now, like I said, if you're just targeting the United States, that's probably going to be too broad. So you're going to want to hit this enter another location and then click advanced search. This box will pop up and I'm going to use Tampa as an example. So if I type in Tampa, I can then click include, and now I'll be able to offer my services in this location if this is where I service. A better way to do this would be to do zip code. So for example, if I type in this zip code, it will then be more specific to a specific zip code in Tampa. The main reason you might want to use this is if you know you target certain income levels or you want to exclude certain ones. The other way you can target these people is if you click radius, you can go ahead and type in Tampa again. You can click include. And now you see this big circle it's giving you. So in my particular case, I know people don't typically want to come across this bridge, so I want to shorten it. So I'll hit 10 miles, or I'll click here and type in again, Tampa, and then I have 10 miles. And now you can see how that circle got a lot smaller, and my ad dollars will be more effective in this area. Okay, I am set to English, perfect. Audience segments we don't want to use. Broad match keywords, please, please, please make sure you turn this to off. Essentially what this is it's a free blank check that you're giving to Google if you leave this on to show up for anything under the sun. So Google will automatically turn all your keywords if you have phrase or exact match to broad, and it will spend your money all over the place. So go ahead and make sure this is set to off. For automatically created assets, turn this on. This will allow Google to use content from your landing page, domain, and other combinations of your assets that you give it, and customize assets based on relevance for your keyword. So it'll basically be able to create a huge combination of ads based on what you give it. And typically, because I'm in the ad account so much, I like to use this feature, and it leverages Google's newer AI tools and does really well. So you want to turn that on. After this, you're good to go. We'll go to the next level. So now we're going to go ahead and go into the build of the actual ad unit. So we'll skip this AI generation piece. I'll hit skip. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in the keywords I want to target. So you might say, TJ, well, how do I know what keywords to target? Well, I'm glad you asked. I will show you. If you go to your Google Ad account and you type in Keyword Planner at the top, you can go to Keyword Planner and this will show up. Then you're going to go ahead and make sure that you target here. This will typically say United States, but you want to look at the keywords in your area to understand how much volume is in your area, not in the United States. So if I typed in, for example, best law firm, and I wanted to see how much that was being searched in my area, there we go. So 10 to 100 searches a month, pretty high intent search that I'd want to show up for. But I also know that people searching with the word best are typically willing to spend more money, which is a little bonus tip for you to make sure that you target people that do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is an exact match keyword that I target. Put this in here. I also know that I offer car accident service. That in. Let's see what else. Best accident lawyer, great. So you can see how being particular about these is really important, because if you start showing up for just, something like just law firm, you can end up showing for a lot of things, a lot of different combinations. Now, as I'm doing this, I want you to look all the way to the right side, and you can see this top of page bid low range and top of page bid high range. Essentially what this is telling you is when you run your ad in the ad auction, you could potentially pay for one click for $63, or one for, in this area in Tampa, would be $369. So super expensive. And again, another reason that in this area, in this industry, you need to be running your ads with a pretty decently sized budget. And you want to be particular about the type of keyword. So sometimes you can find keywords that have more words in it. So something like best slip and fall lawyer near me, it might have less searches, but you can get a better cost on it. I would really encourage you to take the time to look at the right keywords for you. So I actually went ahead and used the wonderful ChatGPT to create some headlines and to do some keyword research for me. So for the one that I'm doing car accidents first. And so we can see I have best car accident lawyers, best accident lawyers. I'm going to go ahead and use the other keywords that I have in here, copy them. And if you look in the description of this YouTube video, you'll be able to see all of these keywords that I have, and you can use them. Obviously, you'd want to switch the location to your particular location. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and use these headlines and these descriptions and then put them into the campaign area down here. So where I put in headlines and descriptions, I will add those in and then come back once I've finished. All right, I am back, and now I have filled in all the headlines, as you can see here, and all the descriptions. So I wanted to give you one little bonus tip after showing you how I filled out these headlines. When you click on the headline down here, I would always recommend doing number one XYZ. So number one lawyer, number one, whatever industry you're in this case for law firms, you'd maybe want to put number one motorcycle accident, number one car accident attorney, things like that. In this case, I'm going to do number one choice, because the reason I want to do that is number one choice, that can match up to any variation above here. So it'll always make sense. Number one, Tampa car accident relief, right? So you can see how it will show up here on the preview on the right here. What I want to use this second spot for here, it's a little bonus tip again for you. If you hold shift on your keyboard and then press the bracket next to the P on your keyboard, you can click location insertion and then click city. And I'm just going to go ahead, for example, and type in best lawyer. This is just default text to, if this doesn't work, that it'll show this. But what this is doing, for example, is it's going to pull in the city location of the person who is making the search on Google. So if it can't pull it for whatever reason, it has to have a default text, so you have to put that in here. So I'm going to show you a way you could use this. So now if I go ahead and I pin this to position 1, it'll always say in the first position, this is a city in Tampa that it can be super relevant for, right? So that city, car accident, get help now. Perfect. I mean, that's another city, right? That's always going to show up in the first position. So this is something that a lot of other law firms don't typically do, but makes a huge impact because you're creating a super relevant ad for each user every single time they make a search on Google. Now, my recommendation would be to not pin it in the first position. I would leave it on recommended. You'll see this go back up to excellent. Why? Because Google then has the ability to use it when it thinks it makes sense for each user, because it knows for some users it wants to use it, for some maybe not so much. So leave that on. Go ahead and make sure all your headlines make sense for what you do. And the other last part of building your ad here is to make sure that it's only about one service. And so if I go to the website that we're running these ads for, if you go to practice areas, you see that we have car accident, motorcycle, truck, all these different ones, and you kind of can feel tempted, all of them in one campaign right here, right? You typically want to put all those in here, car crash, motorcycle, all these different things, but we just want to do accident. What we'll do is create another ad group for all those different offers that we have so that we can give Google really specific ad copy to make sure that it's as optimized as possible. Go ahead and add in some images if you want. If I go to free stock images, I could type in car accident and I could do something like this. I could also type in lawyer. Great. Some of these are super basic looking. I would check with your company to make sure they're okay with using some of these. And you can see where these show up on Google now. Usually having images helps quite a bit as well. And then you can add in site links. So site links are really important. I'm going to show you how to do these. So you'll go to Tampa, your website. You'll go to the different pages of your offer. So for example, this one, we'll copy this URL. This is for car accident. I'm going to put the URL here and then type in car accident lawyer. Great. So now that will show up here and people can click that way more specifically to a specific page. Then I'll go to motorcycle accidents. Go ahead and grab this one. Go to site link 2, motorcycle. I might just do this for now, or I could do motorcycle lawyer. I might just do more motorcycle accident law. And then grab that URL, drop it here. Then I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do bicycle because I think that's the other ad group that I wanted to build. And I'll go to site link and then bicycle accident lawyer. This one is probably going to might be too well. All right, that worked. So I'll hit create. And now you can see how those will show up here. So on desktop, people will have the ability to click that, and on mobile as well. If we can get it to load, you can see here. So now you have an extra place for people to scroll or to click to, and now our ad's really coming together. All right, we'll click done, and one final thing to check. So you notice how I have these brackets on this keyword on the top? That means it's an exact match. These don't have anything around it, which means they're broad match and can show up for anything. So like I said earlier in the video, we want to be really specific about the type of targeting we're doing, and we don't want to show up for anything crazy. So we want to just make sure we're showing up in this, for this ad group, all these keywords exactly as they're written. So I'm going to go ahead and add brackets around the rest of these keywords. All right, and now you can see I added in those brackets around all these are exact match, and we're good to go. So I'll hit next. And now we're going to want to set our daily budget. Now the thing to think about here when you're deciding on what your budget is, you need to pick a budget that makes sense for those CPCs, remember, that I referred to here. If you set a $50 a day budget and you know that best car lawyers cost 63 bucks, there's a good chance you might not get any clicks. So you're probably going to need to be in this space, at least spending $200 to $300 a day to start getting clicks on some of these larger volume search terms. Otherwise, you have to be specific to go after a keyword like best divorce lawyers, and it's only, $8.95. So just keep that in mind as you decide your budget here. All right, we'll hit next. It's checking for errors. We'll hit publish campaign. Bada boom, bada bing. We have a new campaign. All right, we'll hit exit on the top left. And now you can see our new campaign is active. We can go click into the ad group and see the keywords that are live. Awesome. We have our ads in here. And now the last thing I want to say is go to your ad groups, and I want to make sure that this is labeled correctly. So we're going to call this car accident. And then we're going to go ahead and hit create ad group again. And we're going to call this one, for my second ad group, I want to do motorcycle accident. All right. So motorcycle accident. And then I'm going to grab my URL for motorcycle accident. And then I have my keywords here for motorcycles. And you notice how relevant these search terms are to my local area. Again, make sure you do that for yours. And then we'll hit save and continue. And it's going to request an exemption. You often will find this in the law space where you have to request an exemption to be able to run your ads. And right now it's bugging out. Request an exemption. I think it's going to make me do it a few times for each individual keyword. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in all my updated headlines here and descriptions for this new ad group. So that is how you would do that for each offer and service you have at your law firm. You just want to make sure each ad group has its own set of headlines and descriptions for Google to use in the ad auction. And lastly, once you're done building your campaign, make sure you go back to the campaign level and double check that you set your location targeting up correctly. It's very important. So you'll go here and then click advanced search, and you can see exactly what your location targeting is. In this case, ours looks good to go. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. And if you want to ask me personally a question on how to set things up, or you just have a question that you didn't really get answered in this video, click the link in the description and you can join my school community where we have several other people that you can interact with and ask questions about Google Ads. All right, we'll talk soon. Peace.